You're watching UPN News 13 with Alan Frio, Tawny Little, Danny Romero with weather, and Newly Scruggs Sports.
Have extraterrestrials visited the moon? It's a topic that has sparked the interest of UFO researchers for decades. Tonight, UPN News 13 investigates one man's claims that the moon's mysteries are revealed in NASA photos. Tammy Taylor has the story.
Well, this is an interesting one. You know, we all gaze up at the moon and admire its beauty, but some people look at La Luna and see something most of us can't imagine. And at least one researcher thinks NASA is keeping secrets about what's up there. It has been called our world's largest UFO. We know where it is and what it's called, but in many ways the moon remains a mystery, even after thousands of photographs from dozens of unmanned probes and 6 manned voyages to its surface. For some, these missions brought more questions than answers.
7, go ahead.
This recording is from the Gemini 7 mission, in which astronaut Frank Borman reports to Mission Control that he sees something strange while orbiting the moon.
Bogey is an Air Force term for unidentified aircraft, or in this case, an unidentified spacecraft that shouldn't have been there.
Don Ecker is director of research for the national publication UFO Magazine. He says this recording is one of many things that raise serious questions about what's going on the moon. In the rest of the exchange between the moon and Houston, you can hear a surprised Mission Control verifying that it's really hearing what it thinks it hears.
This is Houston. Say again, 7. Roger.
City Control here again. The reference in that conversation was bogey. It was Borman who reported sighting the bogey. This is Gemini Control Houston at 4 hours, 24 minutes into the flight.
Some of the rumors suggested that the astronauts were not talking about all that they in fact had seen.
Ecker says other things suggest all isn't as it appears with the moon. This 1969 newspaper article reports that Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin reported sighting some mysterious lunar lights in a moon crater. It seems to have a slight amount of fluorescence to it, said Armstrong. The area in the crater is quite bright. Ecker also points to the fact that NASA abruptly stopped the Apollo program before its last mission was flown, even though he says the mission had been paid for, the equipment was ready to go, and the astronauts were trained. That led to speculation that we were somehow warned off the moon. Some writers have gone so far as to suggest the moon is a hollowed-out spaceship created by aliens. Others insist there are alien bases on the moon. Don Ecker believes he has proof that artificial artifacts are indeed on the moon. His proof, NASA photographs.
When you look at some of these photographs, there are apparently very artificial things that are there that suggest that somebody else has been using the moon as a base. Now think about that, using it as a base for a very long time. Now I'm not suggesting that we're talking about native, indigenous moon people, but it only makes sense that if UFOs represent technology from somewhere else, at least some of them, then it only makes sense that they would have a base, an operating base, very close to Earth. And the moon, of course, would make a perfect place.
What does Ecker see? A bridge, for one thing.
We have a picture of the Mare Crisium crater, and we have something here that's been described as a bridge. It's a 12-mile long, yes, a 12-mile long. And at the very end of it, when you get right up to the photograph, you can see underneath whatever that thing is. Now, in nature, and especially when you're talking about, for example, this example of being on the moon, there are no real 12-mile straight long lines in nature. It just doesn't happen.
Are you saying this is a straight line right here?
Yes.
This right there?
This structure right here.
So, all right, is this a hillside or a rock, and then this is a bridge over it? Is that what you're saying?
It's going through the crater.
Okay.
Ecker says the formations can be difficult to see for the untrained eye.
Okay. Here is the very top of the wall. There appears to be, the best way to describe this is a series of windows going across there. You can see it coming down here. It's curved on this side with this object protruding out of it, with the ball, a round object right on the end, and the shadow that it's casting across the bottom of this structure.
Now, what makes you think this is a wall
Well, I call it...
and not this? Or, you know what I'm saying? I'm
Sure.
trying to figure out why you think this looks different from other parts of it.
This has all the appearance of being artificially constructed to me. I've looked at this thing now for about 6 years, okay? And in the 6 years, and believe me, I've looked at it every way possible, because something like this I find troubling. I really do. I find troubling.
NASA suggests these strange tracks were created by boulders rolling downhill, but Ecker believes they lead up and out of a crater and that they resemble the tread of an armored vehicle.
There is an object right here, which, and you have to get right up next to the photo to look at it, it resembles what appears to be the back end of a satellite dish or a radar dish.
Ecker says there are several strange things in this NASA photograph, but the most intriguing is in the upper left-hand corner.
This caught my eye immediately because when I looked at it, it reminded me of what appeared to be an Army Quonset hut. As crazy as that sounds, on the moon, with lit windows. And when you look at the blow-up of that area there appears to be a structure, a housing structure of some type built with an object next to it that appears to be a tower.
Could these NASA photos hold evidence of alien artifacts on the moon?
We sent copies to Dr. Natalie Cabral here at NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View. She agreed to give us her expert advice on what she sees in the photographs. But after looking at them, she changed her mind.
She told us in an email, "I have been watching the images you sent me in detail, and I can tell you that there is nothing more than impact cratering and basin processes. I don't think it is useful for me to discuss that issue on camera, mainly because I believe that people who want to see things will always see them, whatever the arguments I can present." Ecker says it's a typical NASA-type response.
These are the type of things that, in a public discussion, for the most part, NASA continually refuses to address. They've relegated all questions having to do with artificial structures to that round file, suggesting that it's just some more paranoid ravings of conspiracy theorists. But the bottom line is there are some very legitimate questions there that should be answered.
Now, we did speak to the chief scientist for JPL's Solar System Exploration Office. His name is Steve Saunders, and he told us if there was something up there, we would be the first to be shouting about it. But it is interesting about it. It's close to us. We've been there, and we really don't know a lot about it.
We were looking at the photos. Some looked curious, others didn't. So depends on what
In the eye of the beholder.
The eye of the beholder.
Exactly what I was just going to say.
Okay. Thanks.